all know the Myers-Briggs personality types, you know, the infages, the enfages, and all that jazz. Did you know that they also have a 16 love types, romantic personalities that you can sort yourself into and use to matchmake? Upon discovering this, I thought it'd be really funny to take the quiz for the twist characters. So we're going to be discovering the love types of each and every staff member. Now, I am not affiliated with this quiz, nor am I sponsored by it, but I do think that it is quite funny, and some of the answers, some of the types are just a little hilarious, like Hidden Baby. So we're gonna see what everybody is, starting with, of course, Crowley. All right, do I think that Crowley likes people who are more mature than him? I don't know. I don't know what Crowley is. So I think for the staff, part of their twisted counterparts is also going to roll into this. And I think Crowley being Mr. Crow and being so immature feeling would perhaps like someone that's a little bit more mature. So I'm going to say yes, but not a full yes. Does he tend to fall in love easily? I don't see it happening. I feel like he's too oblivious to actually fall in love easily. When he has a partner, does he avoid going to places for other potential romantic interests? So does he have wandering eyes? I don't think he has wandering eyes. I think Crowley would be loyal. But I for some reason, I feel like if he was choosing to be in a romantic relationship, and because he's so oblivious, he would not avoid going to places where there's other romantic interests because he wouldn't be seeing them. He would be kind of oblivious to them. Accommodating his partner's preferences, no, he's an immature. No. You cannot convince me that Crowley would go out of his way for anyone. No way. Fall for people that he can't have, maybe? I'm gonna say yes, because I don't know. I feel like that's kind of the vibe that I get from him. When he's with his partner, would he feel wanting to be, well, he would want to be pampered 110%, but 110%. Where do you want to go on a date? Where he wants to go? Where he again, I feel like he's just incredibly emotionally immature. So I think he would want to have it his way, and he would want to do his stuff, and he would not want to be accountable and not want to help. It seems like a very Crowley thing, no? Gradually develop feelings or suddenly fall. I don't know. I'm gonna go slightly on the gradual side, but I'm not sure. When in a relationship, he tends to get swept along. I can see it happening depending on the partner that he has. I could see him being a little bit of a pushover, but there is a world where the two sides can coexist, where he still wants to do everything that he wants to do, but he can be convinced otherwise. So I'm gonna go slight yes. Ever too clingy? Is Crowley clingy? Yeah, for some weird reason, I want to say full yes. I want to say full yes to clingy, but there's some undeniable bit of Crowley that just feels clingy. And like, hey, he may be clinging to the past real hardcore if any of those book 8 theories are correct. So like, maybe he is. Maybe he is really clingy. Maybe he's so clingy to a past lover that he wants to resurrect them. Maybe that's what's going on. Who knows, man? Does Crowley find the partner to be childish but cute? I'm gonna say no. I think he's the childish one. I think he needs somebody that's a little bit more mature. Free-spirited or serious and committed. Again, he doesn't seem like the person that would cheat, but I don't know just how serious he would be. Well, I guess if he's super clingy, then maybe he's serious and committed. If he's clingy enough to resurrect his dead lover, then perhaps serious and committed is the truth. If a partner suggests a detour on the way home, I think he would decline if he was tired. I think he'd decline. Clear image of what he wants or his type is whoever he falls for. I think he'd have a clear-ish image. I feel like he would at least have a type. Want to take the lead in a relationship? Hell no. Crowley take the lead in anything? Hell no. Being in a more than friends, less than lovers. I don't think that he would want to stay in that for too long. Logically explain why he fell in love with someone, maybe. I don't know. Just shopping to a store that they're not interested in. I think he would rather not, but he would go anyway if they were pushy. I'm very tempted to put Crowley with like a very strong partner who's very decisive and can make decisions and like is accountable. Like I feel like the opposite would be what Crowley is attracted to. So for that reason, I feel like Crowley would not want to do things, but his partner would force him to do them anyway, and Crowley's too clingy to not go with them. So I'm gonna say that he'd rather not, but I do think that when push came to shove, he would go with them. How much involvement? Oh, I think that he would be super happy when they showed interest in them. I think he'd be so happy. The guy literally like talks to portraits for hours on end, and he tries to talk to anybody for hours. He is like seeking validation from every single source. He wants attention. He wants to talk. Like that is a very core Crowley trait. If I think. Thinking about an ideal partner who comes, someone who accepts me gently. Yeah, someone who accepts him. Because again, he's seeking validation. He's really seeking validation from anyone and everyone. And I think his romantic partner would also be someone that he wants that from. And I think that he would absolutely want them to accept him for who he is. Thinking about the future before committing or being loved now is enough. I don't think Crowley thinks about the future, or he thinks about the future way too much. But I think in a romantic relationship, being in love now is fine for him. After starting a relationship, his time with friends and hobbies would stay. I think his partner would be the priority. Again, Mr. Clingy Birdman. He would just force his partner, I think, to partake in his hobbies and things. So that both would be true at the same time. Oh, does he feel happy and needed when his partner depends on him? Oh, yes, 100% yes. Does he prioritize feelings of love over ideals and conditions, or want to carefully consider his ideal partner? I think a little bit of A, but I don't know how much of A. I'm gonna go with that one. Relationship style, sincere and fully committed, or free and sincere and fully committed? Mr. Clingy man. All right, if a partner says, actually, I want to go somewhere else right before a date. Nah, you can't change that on Crowley. Are you kidding me? Why is that immediately so accurate? Oh, and he's not even the charismatic variant. Oh, this is beautiful. Oh, man. The delicate heart hidden under an outgoing mask. Mask! Wait. Oh, it's all coming together. Oh, my gosh. All right. What is the hidden baby, though? Let's talk about it. The LRC designation consists of four core characteristics. L for leadership in social situations, C for confident exterior, R for realistic perception, and E for emotional depth. With these elements combined, they become the hidden baby personality. Appearing proactive and confident, while actually strongly possessing introverted aspects and harboring deep emotional worlds within. This is the essential characteristic of the LCRE hidden baby. While behaving actively in social situations, they seek quiet time privately and treasure immersing themselves in their own world. You know, I can see that happening because Crowley is very, very social whenever we meet him, and he puts on this like facade of being like super happy and super generous and all these and like knowing everything. But there's that one panel. I don't know if it's from a fan comic or an official comic, but Malleus mistakes Crowley as a gargoyle because he's just sitting outside on like a precipice and just like chilling and disassociating. And so I think that those two things coexisting do fit this hidden baby based on the description. The basic characteristics are dual-natured social ability, deep sensitivity and empathy, and then realistic idealism. Some of the romantic aspects of a Crowley are cautious approach and deep affection. Very cautious in romance, they carefully observe before taking action, strive to deeply understand not just surface charms, but a partner's inner selves and values. That's very interesting. Romance isn't light, but grasped with serious emotional exchange. So towards partners, they've opened their hearts to, they've poured deep affection, delicately caring for partners, their treasure partners' happiness as much as their own, However, this deep affection expression due to introverted nature often appears as casual actions or considerations rather than directly. Okay. Yeah, that would make sense more so for Crowley, because I feel like he would be very clingy, but he would be selfish in the way that he expresses his care, trying to take them to do all the things that he wants and only he wants, having them eat his food, having them listen to him talk. But I do think that that would be how he would show his care, and he would be happy to do so, and he would be happy to share those things that he loves with his partner. And I think that in romantic relationships, obviously, there's a give and take. You can't have your way all of the time. You do have to indulge your partner's interests and things like that as well. Like, and I don't think it's toxic to do so. I just personally feel like Crowley would not have that sort of balance figured out. However, I do think that those statements fit him based on what we get in game. He had thirst for being understood. You don't say. You don't say. Yeah, no, Mr. Crowman that's seeking validation and seeking to anybody that would listen, even portraits on a wall. Yeah, nah. They have a strong desire to have their inner complexity understood. They seek partners who accept their true selves rather than their superficial relationships. They seek partners who will love them, including their dual nature and introverted aspects. In romantic relationships, they will gradually show their true selves to partners. I see. While initially tending to show sociable and active sides, once the relationship deepens, they come to reveal the quiet and introspective aspects. Yeah, no, I can see that. And also delicate communication. Interesting. They prefer indirect, delicate communication over direct expression. I don't really know about that for Crowley. Mr. Birdman talks a little bit too much, and he slips up quite often. Although he does correct himself when he's about to give us a job, like we see in book 4, when he corrects himself on his vacation and then turns that into a mission, which was not at all what it was. And we all know that because he said it was a vacation before he started correcting himself. But I guess the act of the correction could fit delicate communication. And then longing for stable relationships. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that for sure. All right, strengths are deep thoughtfulness and consideration, balanced judgment, and high adaptability. All right. I feel like some of those don't fully make sense, but that's okay. But he should be aware of excessive self-sacrifice. That's not a Crowley thing. That's not a Crowley thing we get to see in books 1 through 7. What do you mean? Accumulation of emotional burden? I can see that being true, and hiding his true feelings. Yeah, that would make sense. Well, that is a Crowley. His best match is capable manager. He does. He needs somebody to manage him. Hidden Treasures and Loyal Hachiko are also good matches, except Perfect Chameleon would not be good for Crowley. Interesting. There's a bunch of other stuff here as well that you can dive into on your own time if you want to understand Crowley a little bit better, or take the test as Crowley and see if you get a different result than me. But him being the hidden baby just feels so lore accurate. Alrighty, let's see what Crewel has going for him. I think Crewel would also be someone that wants people to be a little bit more mature. But Crewel's weird to me because Crewel just feels mature. And I don't know. I think he would want someone like at the same level or higher. I don't think that he can deal well with people that are more immature, but I don't know how that would be for a relationship. Because we can see him handling the students of NRC well and giving them slack and all of that sort of stuff. But that's a very different relationship context versus a romantic relationship. And I think Crewel is the kind of person that would keep his partner super accountable. So I think that they would need to have a certain level of maturity for that. So I'm going to say like in the middle of yes. Fall in love easily. I don't see him falling in love easily at all. Partner, avoid going to places with other No, he wouldn't. Again, Crewel seems like he'd be very strong and very loyal as well. He doesn't seem like the wandering eyes type because he knows what he wants, and once he has it, he doesn't tend to let go of those things. Like he knows his classic cars, he wants them, he has them. He has his dog. Like he's very. So even if he went to a place with other people, I don't think that he would have wandering eyes. So I don't think he would need to avoid it. Accommodate his partner's preferences. This is another one where I think no. Crewel's kind of quippy. And Cruella, for sure, would not accommodate anybody else. And Crewel is separate, but I think that he shares that sort of aspect with her. I don't think it's nearly as strong, but I do think he would not accommodate very well. All for people that he can't have, I can see that happening. I can see that because he knows what he wants, and sometimes what he wants may not be what he can get. But I can see that being true for him. When he's with his partner, wanting to pamper them, I think would be more of Crewel's vibe than being pampered. He feels almost too independent to me for him to be pampered. I feel like he would have to do the pampering. Go on a date where he would want to go, I think, as well. Gradually develop feelings. I think he would gradually. Yeah. When in a relationship, I tend to be the one who gets swept along. I can see it happening in terms of feelings, but he's a little too strong, I think, to get fully swept. I'm gonna say no. Ever said he's too clingy? No. Oh, no. Crewel would not be clingy. Crewel is very stable. I think Crewel would not need to be clingy. I think Crewel has enough like emotional stability where he would not. Partner childish but cute. I can see that being the case. I can see him. You know, there's a word that describes certain people in a certain context that Crewel has certain ties to. That I think the answer for this would be yes. Which relationship elements? Free-natured or serious and committed? Serious and committed. If your partner suggests a detour on the way home, I think that he would go along even if he was tired. I think that he would be okay with certain spontaneous things, and if there's a level of trust within the relationship, I think that Crewel would be willing to go along with other stuff because you never know. You never know. I don't think he's truly that self-centered where he wouldn't want to do anything like that. Approach to choosing a partner, he would have a clear image. He would have an absolutely clear image. Guy, you cannot survive in the fashion industry if you do not have a clear image of what you want and what you desire and how you're going to achieve that. There's no way. There's no way that he doesn't have that aspect. Does he want to take the lead in a relationship? I would say yes. I think Crewel would like to. Yeah, sure. Being more than friends, less than, no, he wouldn't want to define the relationship. He might enjoy the stage of more than friends, less than lovers. I could see him being a little spontaneous, but I think that he would want to have things narrowed down. He wouldn't want to waste time. He does not seem like a person that would waste time in like a situationship. It would be something that he would have to define. Like he might like it for like a week or two, but then it would be like, all right, so what are we doing? Logically explain why he fell in love with someone a little bit, I would say. I don't feel like he's a very passionate person in that sort of context. I think that he knows what he wants. He knows why he wants it. He knows why he liked this person. And that's the end of that. If your partner asks you to go shopping at a store you're not interested in, I think he would go. I think that he would go. Even if it made him happy. Why not? After starting a relationship, how much involvement? I think he would want to maintain some of his freedom. I think that he would be happy if they showed interest in him, but I do think that Crewel would be the type of person that wants to stay a little more independent. That's kind of the vibe I get from him. I don't know how much, though, between little heart and medium heart. He's not a big heart, but I maybe a medium heart. When you think about the ideal partner, who comes to mind? Someone who accepts me gently or someone that I want to protect? I think he'd be on the protect. I don't think either one fully works for Crewel, but I think he would be on the protect side. I think about the future before committing. Yes. Again, very goal-oriented, this one. After starting a relationship, my time with friends and hobbies stays the same. Yeah. He's very independent feeling to me. Happy and needed. Oh, when your partner depends on you? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why I feel this way, but yes. Which type are you? Prioritize the feeling of loves or carefully consider? Carefully consider. I don't think Crewel would be someone that gets swept up in the emotion of it. Relationship style is sincere and fully committed, for sure. I think there's a little bit of free and go with the flow in terms of like the independence aspects, but if you had to pick between the two, it would be this one. And then if they want to go somewhere else right before a date, I think that Crewel would want to discuss it first because I think Crewel would put a lot of intention behind what he was doing versus Crowley, who would just kind of like want to do what he wants to do. I think Crewel would have like planned a 5-course meal at a fancy restaurant and had it a secret, and then you being like, hey, let's go walk by the beach instead, might ruffle his feathers a little bit depending upon what it was that he had planned, or, you know. So I think he would want to discuss it first, or like compromise, be like, well, let's do what we have planned first and then we can go walk by the beach. That seems like a more Crewel reasonable response to me. Crewel is the admired senpai. Oh, you know what? I feel like that also is a little on the nose as well. The Laro designation consists of leadership, adult-like maturity, yep, rational thinking, yep, and then open-minded this is Crewel! This is so Crewel! That's him 100%. That is this boy right here. Without trying to be a mood maker, they naturally earn trust and popularity. This is the great, yeah, quick-witted and straightforward, yeah, yeah. Even though they think they're acting normally, those around them recognize them as reliable figures. Basic personality traits are natural charm and popularity, easygoing independence, calm judgment and intelligence. This is literally him. I thought that the Crowley thing was funny, but there were some parts of it that didn't seem to fit him quite as well. This is just Crewel. This describes him completely. Someone who would rank first for years and as seniors you'd fall for if they were in your club ranking. This is Crewel. Oh man, their characteristics in romance are popular but not romance obsessed. What was I saying before? What was I saying before? I feel so validated on this one. Oh man, once dating begins, the pattern is often that the other person becomes more infatuated. While Laro thinks they normally like the other person, they may have experienced being asked, do you really like me? Or I want you to say, yeah, no, that could be a total thing with Crewel because he's a little too independent. Oh man, unique style of affection expression. Yeah, because he's so quippy. I think in his vignette too, for his card, which I don't have, he's so quippy with the staff when he gets his coffee. And the staff just laugh it off because that's just Crewel. That's just how he expresses himself. You know, he's got a little zing in him. They don't feel the need to repeatedly say, I love you. They often think you should understand without me saying love so many times, right? Rather than verbal expressions of affection, they prefer showing love through actions and attitudes. Exactly. This is why he's the #1 bachelor. This is why. Ideal romance style and partner tends to be weak towards dog-like types who, no, it does not say weak towards dog-like types. What do you mean? That's it. This is, if you ever wanted to know, this is Crewel. Strengths are universal popularity and trustworthiness, strong mental resilience and recovery, flexible adaptability, independent lifestyle. I don't know how many other words you could use to describe Crewel. All right, but what should he be aware of? What are the flaws? Everything sounds good, but what are our flaws? Being too easygoing, insufficient affection expression, adjusting personal space, and timing for showing true feelings. Okay. So basically, there needs to be a little bit more balance between the independence and the partner. There needs to be a more clear communication that's not just unspoken. For Crewel, the best match is the loyal Hachiko. God, if this couldn't get any more Crewel. If this could not get any more Crewel. Oh my goodness. I thought Crowley was perfect, but this is chef's kiss. This is so Crewel. All right, Vargas now. Getting into the headspace of Vargas is gonna be hard for me, but let's see. I like people who are more mature than me. No, because no one can be more mature than Vargas. Tend to fall in love easily. Sure, I could say yes. I feel like he would. Avoid going to places where there's other potential romantic interests. No, because how am I gonna show off my beautiful partner to everyone else and see how great of a couple we are and how perfect of a couple we are if I don't go out in public with them to places where there are other people. Tend to accommodate? Hell no. Why would I need to accommodate their preferences? All for people that he can't have? I think Gaston is coming in here for this one. I don't think Vargas is necessarily as bad as Gaston. I do think that Vargas has some nice key points. He is muscle-headed, but he's not that wild. I'm gonna give him a little heart. I'm gonna give him a little heart. Which feeling, oh, wanting to pamper them. Which one is that? B. Wanting to pamper them, I think. Maybe Vargas would like to be fawned over, but I feel like Vargas gets fawned over so often because of his muscles. I also didn't realize until someone pointed it out because of his card and his vignette that apparently he's like a celebrity, which is wild. So I don't know if he would want to be pampered because I feel like he's just so used to that energy from everybody around him all of the time, or at least most of the time. Even if it's not, he tends to, I think, project that it is. So I'm gonna say wanting to pamper them. Where he wants to go, obviously, on a date. Why would we go anywhere else? Gradually develop or sudden fall? I don't know. I could see him gradually developing feelings, and I think that would be cuter than the alternative. But I don't know, because I feel like he would see somebody that suits his aesthetic preference and then be like, yep, that's the one. And then would just try. I don't know. There's a Vargas that I want to exist and a Vargas I could see existing because of Gaston. And the two wolves are having a very hard time fighting one another. But I think based off my very limited vibe of Vargas, it would probably be the sudden fall. But even if it's sudden, I still feel like he would have a hard time realizing that he has feelings. So I'm gonna gradually develop. To tend to be swept along, I'm gonna do little no, but that's because I think Vargas would answer this as no, even though Vargas would absolutely 100%, I think, get swept along by his partner. I think if it was a true love situation, Vargas would be getting subtly manipulated into doing all the things his partner wants to do because his partner is just so cute and they need someone to take care of them and they need someone to be strong. So if they're going to the flea market, Vargas has to be there just in case something bad happens. And he's just going to always be there for them. I don't think that Vargas would say that he's clingy. But I do think in the example that I just said, he would be a little clingy, even though he would be in protective mode. And I think his partner would be fine with it, to be honest. I think the ideal partner for Vargas is somebody that does not mind his overbearing nature in those ways. But if I'm answering this as Vargas, he's gonna say no. Childish but cute, yes, absolutely. Free-spirited, I think a little bit. I don't think that Vargas understands, is my problem. I feel like he would be free-spirited, but in the same way as Crowley, I feel like he just wouldn't get it, you know? Like if he was in a relationship and someone else came up to him and started hitting on him, he would just think that they were a fan of him, and then he would just go along. Like he wouldn't realize what's happening. And then he would be like, oh, I can't wait to go home to my wife. And that person would be like, what? What do you mean, wife? And he'd be like, oh yeah, I'm married. So nice to have met you, a fan, and then walk away. I don't know. I think he would be serious and committed, but I think that he would think of himself as free-spirited, and I feel like it would get miscommunicated because of the way that Vargas is to people that are outside of the relationship. So I'm gonna put a little free-spirited. Suggest a detour on the way home for a date. What would you do? I think he would go along. I think he would view it as like an opportunity to train. Approach to choosing a partner. Clear image. I think it's a clear image. I think Vargas thinks he has a clear image. I don't know if he does, but I think he thinks he has a clear image. Take the lead? Absolutely. You think Vargas isn't gonna take the lead? Vargas of all people. Being more than friends, less than lovers. Nah, he would want it defined. Logically explain. I think, again, this is one where I think Vargas would logically think that he could do this. I don't really know though. If a partner asked you to go shopping of a store you're not interested in, he'd go if it made him happy, and then he'd use the bags as training. He would carry all the extra packages. How much involvement does he want from his partner? Oh, absolutely wants them to be interested in him. But I don't know if it would be to that extent, actually. Because if he's getting fawned over constantly, I don't think he would want it to be the same thing, but I don't think that he would want to be ignored either. So I maybe middle of the road for that one. Who comes to mind? Someone he could protect. Someone he could protect. Boy has been creating muscles since he like popped out the womb. He needs somebody he could protect. I think if the future before committing or being in love right now is enough. I can't. I really have a hard time envisioning Vargas as someone who thinks about the future a lot in that way. So I'm gonna say that. After starting a relationship, my time with friends and hobbies stays the same, or the partner I think becomes the priority. Well, no, because Vargas's hobby is his muscles, right? So the muscles would have to stay the same, and I think whoever Vargas's partner is would understand that, because there's no way he can keep up that physique if he's not doing all of the training that he's doing, and that requires a lot of time commitment. So he would have to be that. Happy when the partner depends on you? Vargas, of course. Prioritize love over ideals and conditions, or care. Yeah, no, love, 100%. I feel like he's a big softie at heart. Relationship style, I think it would be free. I think it would have to be free and go with the flow because of the time commitments specifically. Like I don't think that Vargas could be too. How do I put this? I think Vargas would want to have his free time dedicated to his partner and his partner dedicated to him in that. However, because he spends so much time doing all the other things, there needs to be a level of freedom for both of them because they do have a lot of independent time. So I think it would have to be free and go with the flow, because I think the person that he would have to get with would have to be okay with it being free and go with the flow, or for Vargas being having to cancel plans because of something sports related or what have you. Like, I don't know. I feel like he would have to have that, but I do think that he would be fully committed to his partner. I just think that their relationship wouldn't be as strictly committed as in the same way as Crowley and Crewel were. So actually, I want to go somewhere else right before a date. I think he'd be fine with it. I don't think that Vargas would care. He's the perfect chameleon. How does that make any... Vargas is the worst pairing for Crowley. Oh, I'm so sorry to any Crowley Vargas shippers, but according to this test that I've taken, they are opposites and the worst compatibility. I don't know if that's perfect or not. Well, let's see what happens with the perfect chameleon here. Leadership, adaptability, pliability, and openness. Yeah, no, that seems to track for Vargas, or the Vargas that I was envisioning in my head. You possess both perfect aspects and the capacity to show different faces one after another. Just when a strong leadership side appears, you suddenly shift and behave gently and warm, continuously revealing different facets. Even when with friends, you naturally transform yourself depending on the place and situation, equipped with the sociability to get along with anyone if the chemistry is right. Yeah, that feels like a Vargas thing to me. Again, he feels like somebody that is more open to his ideal partner, and I think Vargas thinks he knows what he wants, but he seems like the kind of person that would discover it after some time. Exceptional adaptability. I don't really know if that's true. Naturally change behavior to match the atmosphere and the people around them. That doesn't seem to track with Vargas at all. That Vargas is very one note. They can enjoy themselves at their own pace regardless of who they're with, possessing excellent ability to read the atmosphere. The first part of that sentence is true. The second part is not quite as true. Based on a deep understanding of others' feelings and situations, I don't know. Maybe I need to read his vignette, because maybe he is like this. Y'all are gonna have to tell me in the comments if this is a Vargas thing. Multifaceted appeal. Yeah, I can see that being true. In different settings, he does kind of have a different appeal. Balanced judgment. I don't really know about that. But in terms of romance, the flexible adaptation to partners, active approach to special interests, and attentiveness and observation, I think all could fit Vargas very well. Particularly the active approach to special interests. I think if they were interested in whatever, Vargas would be interested in knowing certain aspects of whatever his partner was interested in. And I think if they showed interest in him and his stuff as well, and in like a very genuine sense, rather than a, oh my gosh, you're so cool, you're so muscular sense, I think that there would be enough of a connection there While they might seem moody in nature, it's not the lack of interest. They just want to observe the person's reactions. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this one fits Vargas quite as well. Maybe I put him into too many different extremes during the quiz, but strengths are sociability and communication skills. I can see that. Resourcefulness and responsiveness. I can see that as well. And then harmonious while maintaining their own pace. All three of these things I feel like do fit Vargas, even if some of the other stuff's a little wishy-washy. I do think that he's a very social guy. I don't know if his communication skills are on par, but he does seem like someone that's very easy to talk to, someone that you can just go to if you have a problem, and he may not provide a very practical answer, but I think that he would listen. I do think that he's rather resourceful. I think he has a good responsive nature to things. Sometimes he's a little too boneheaded in that, like he is in the second Halloween, where he just goes to dive straight into the dark mirror without talking to anybody and then getting spit right back out of it. He definitely maintains his own pace and like goes to the beat of his own drum, but he's not very disruptive in it. And I think Vargas understands consent a lot better than Gaston. So even for people like Trein, who asked him to work out and have asked him for certain things, like there's still like a degree of understanding of where people are at and how he can help and what he can and can't do. And he can't like push things onto people, right? He can't push the fitness onto other people. He will mention it and he will offer it, but there's still like a degree of separation there, which I think fits this maintaining harmony while cherishing their own pace. They can blend into groups without losing their individuality, which I think fits for Vargas. I don't know how well he blends, but he definitely is an individual. Points that he should be cautious about is losing touch with his feelings, misunderstanding due to lack of consistency, and then a tendency towards superficial relationships. Again, I really don't know how this fits him or not, but maybe some Vargas lovers out there in the comments will be able to enlighten me as to whether or not this is particularly accurate for him. But that is who he is, according to my answers to this quiz, the perfect chameleon. All right, Trein now. I think Trein absolutely needs his partner to be on, again, like Crewel, needs to be on the same maturity level or more mature. Trein also really still loves his wife, so I don't think that he's gonna be getting with anybody, but for the sake of my new OTP, I feel like I should do this anyway. Fall in love easily? No. He's still committed though. Partner going to places where there are other potential romantic interests. Again, I don't think that Trein would be this way. Now that I'm on my 4th round of this quiz, I don't know if this question is meant for like, would you still go clubbing? Or if it's just meant like, would you go out in public? Because I think I've been interpreting it as going out in public, because technically, no matter where you go, there could be potential romantic interests. But this question may actually be asking, like, would you be going to a club? Would you be going to a singles meetup, which would be bizarre. But I don't know fully what it is asking. So I'm just gonna say light no, because I don't think that any of these guys would avoid going in public. But some of them, like Trein, would absolutely avoid going to the club once he gets in a relationship. So I'm gonna put little no for there. Accommodate his partner's preferences. I can see that being true for Trein. Tend to fall for people that he can't have. Well, so he had his wife at one point in time. He doesn't have his wife now. So technically now he can't have her, but he did have her. So I don't think this is true, because he fell for someone he could have. And just because he can't have them now doesn't make the previous love invalid, I think. So wanting to pamper them, I think, would be better for Trein. Similar to how he treats Lucius. Like, Lucius is the most spoiled cat on the planet. Where do you want to go on a date? I think Trein, because he loves his wife so much even after death, I feel like Trein is the kind of guy that like idolized his partner a little bit, like a little bit. So being such a wife lover, I don't think that he would say no to her on where they wanted to go. Gradually develop. Oh, Trein 100% is a gradual person. He's a gradual person all the way. When in a relationship, I tend to be the one that gets swept along. I don't think so. I don't think Trein would say yes. But this is another case like Vargas where I think absolutely the two of them got swept up in it. Has your partner ever said too clingy? No, Trein does not seem like the clingy type at all. He may love his wife, but he's not clinging to her in the traditional sense. He may be clinging to her memory, but not to her. Childish yet cute? No, I don't see Trein liking that at all. Free, serious, and committed. Trein, free, no, serious and committed. Suggesting a detour. I think that he might be the kind of person that declines even if he's tired. I don't think he's quite that way, even though he's a wife lover. Approach to choosing I think he would have had a clear image. But who's to say how that relationship formed? We don't know. We don't really know. Lead in the relationship? I think he would. I think that he would. More than friends? No. Trein needs the relationship to be defined quickly. Trein's another no-nonsense person. I don't think that you could string him along for that. I don't think that he would accept that at all. He can, I think, logically explain why he fell in love with his wife. If the partner wanted to go shopping to a shop he's not interested in, he'd go. Again, marriage requires compromise, so there's a give and a take here. I think that he understands that, and he would go. Not all the time, but there would be times. How much involvement does he want? I think that he would be slightly on the side of them showing interest in him. I think he may seem cold, but I think he's very warm inside. Ideal partner, what comes to mind? So I don't see Trein as being the overly protective type. I think that he would want to be accepted. And I maybe that comes from the fact that he got rejected at RSA and he tried so hard and wanted to be accepted so bad. And now part of the only reason I think that he's at NRC is because he wants to get back at RSA for rejecting him. And for some reason in my brain, with this question specifically, that example comes to mind. So I think that he would want to be accepted. Thinking about the future before committing is absolutely a Trein vibe. I think his partner would become more of his priority as they became more involved. I think that he would be very happy when his partner needs him. And I think that he would be more careful to consider because he's a very analytical guy. He's much more analytical. He's much more facts-based, into the history and the social studies. Like, that's the sort of vibe that I get from him. So I think that he would absolutely be more detailed and outlined with those feelings. And I think he would be sincere and fully committed to he's still fully committed to his wife. I don't think that there's any other way that this question could go. And then oh, this is gonna get sad. If his partner said he wanted to go somewhere else on a date, I think that he would want to discuss it first. And I think there are times where he said no. And I think he regrets that a lot now. So I like the tragedy. So we're gonna go with the middle of the road discussing. Oh no, Trein is also a hidden baby. What do you mean? You know what? I can see it though. But it's a little too whiny, but I can see it. Because he does have a deep sensitivity and empathy. It's just really hidden. I think that he is really realistic in his ideas and how he comes across. And I do think the dual-natured social ability, even though it's talking about it being like introvert, extrovert, I do think that there is an aspect of it where it can be his very, very strictness towards like the students and his children and all that, and then a softness towards like his wife and towards Lucius, because we see that on display throughout the game. Like Trein is very strict. He's very cordial. He's very, very set in what he believes is like morally acceptable. But there is also times where you can see him just being like a soft little grandpa. And that's not quite what this specific quiz is saying, but I do think that that's an aspect of him that could fit. I do think that he's cautious. He's very deeply affectionate. Thirst for being understood, I'm not so sure of, but I think he does have like a thirst for being accepted. Not the same way as Crowley. Again, it is this vindictive thing that he's got going on with RSA that I guess could technically fit in here. Longing for stable relationships fits him to a T. Again, I don't know how many times I've said it so far, but he is so in love with his wife. Delicate communication, I can see that happening as well. Balanced judgment, sure. Deep thoughtfulness and consideration, absolutely. High adaptability, I don't know. The excessive self-sacrifice, I do not see. The accumulation of emotional burden and tendency to hide true feelings, I absolutely can see. So this is another one where there's like there's a little bit of both. There's a little bit of this, there's a little bit of that. I think it works. And then of course, Trein and Crowley were the same. Last but not least, we have Sam. Does Sam like people that are more mature than him? I feel like Sam would say no. I don't know why, but I feel like Sam is much younger and he's got more of a fast and loose personality. So I feel like he would also be okay with people that are slightly more, like less mature and a little bit more spontaneous. I don't think that Sam falls in love easily though. I think that his charisma gets him into trouble and sometimes people misinterpret him. And so there's some awkwardness there, but I don't think that he himself falls in love that quickly. No, again, this question, I'm just gonna say no. Accommodate partner's preferences, yes. People that he can't have, I don't know. I'm gonna go like slightly yes, depending upon the situation, but for Sam, it's very ambiguous. I really don't know. And we don't have a card, we don't have a vignette for him, so there's only so much information that we could go off of for him. But I feel like the answer would be slightly yes. Which feeling, wanting to pamper them, I think would be a strong feeling. Also, Sam's got his friends on the other side. I think if you were with Sam, even if he didn't want to pamper you, you would get pampered anyway, just because Sam is able to so accurately predict what people want, desire, and need. So there is that aspect of it. I think that he would go where his partner wants to go on dates. I don't think that Sam would be that fussy. Gradually developing feelings, I think, is more of the vibe with him. One that gets swept. I can see Sam getting swept along for sure, but it's a little yes. Clingy? I don't think so. I don't see Sam as being clingy. I think Sam is very secure, and Sam also has his friends on the other side, so he doesn't have to be clingy. Like, there's no reason for Sam to be clingy because he's got people looking out for you anyway, and he knows what you're up to anyway, so childish but cute. I can see him liking that as well. Again, I feel like he likes immature people a little bit more, and that might just be because he's younger, and so in my brain it's like, oh, a young person must also like other young person, and therefore you would not be mature because you're young. I don't know. Free-spirited, I think, is a little bit better for him. Just a detour. I think he'd go along with it as well. Who knows? Spontaneousness could work very well. Clear image of who he likes or someone. I think he would just fall for kind of whoever. Take the lead in a relationship. I don't know. I want to say no, but I can't articulate why. Being more than friends, less than lovers. I think he could enjoy that. I think that Sam's so busy that he would not necessarily mind putting a label on something immediately because he's got like 50,000 other things going on. So if they're just in like that weird stage, who cares? You know? I feel like he would be like, oh, whatever. I don't know. I don't know. I think he could logically explain why he fell in love with someone, sure. Shop that he's not interested in, he'd go. I think he'd go if it made him happy, and he could go because it could be like an extra business opportunity. Starting a relationship, how much involvement? I think he would want to maintain his freedom. I think he would need to maintain his freedom to some degree. I don't know. I don't know how hard it is running a shop. But I think because the franchise is so big, I think he would need some time, at least for that sort of stuff. And I think he would want someone that accepts him. I think that would be important for Sam. Think about the future before committing or being in love is enough. He's so young, he doesn't need to think about the future before committing. But that doesn't mean that he wouldn't. Well, actually, no. If he's okay with being free-spirited and stuff, then I think that would mean that he would want to think about the future before committing. So before he puts a label on this specific relationship, he would want to think about it and make sure that it could work properly, perhaps. So I think that would be true. After starting a relationship, my time with friends and hobbies stays the same. I think the partner would become a little bit of a priority. Not a huge one, but a little bit. Happy and needed if the partner depends on him, sure, but I don't think it would be the full extent of his feelings. Prioritize feelings of love over ideals and conditions carefully. Yeah, I think he would want the vibes more than the logic. Sincere and fully committed. I think he would be more free and go with the flow based off of the other answers that I have said so far, and I think I should be consistent with that. Date somewhere else. I think that he would be fine with that. I feel like Sam is very spontaneous, and if it was a bad idea, he would have his friends to tell him that. So I think that he'd be down for it. I think he'd be down for the spontaneity of life. He's getting the mysterious creature. The quiz said friends on the other side, you say. What if the other side was outer space? Oh, good lord. All right, well, what is the mysterious creature? The FARO is composed of 4 core elements: free thinking, artistic sensibility, intuitive reasoning, and originality. They possess a distinct perspective as if they came from another planet, with free-thinking abilities unconstrained by common sense or preconceived notions. Their mystical charm leaves an unforgettable impression on anyone who meets them. I guess that kind of works for Sam. He does kind of have this otherworldly quality to him because he just kind of shows up whenever you need him, regardless of the situation, and just has what you need, and then he disappears. Like, he shows up with the fairy gala fairy dust, does not tell us how he got it, does not even give us a price for it. Crowley just pays for it, and then he disappears. He is a rather mysterious creature, I suppose, in that way. Unique worldview and creativity, intuitive understanding, and strong individuality and independent spirit. All of that seems to fit him quite well, at least in my mind, based off of what I was going with during the quiz. Their ideas are unpredictable. They can draw unique inspiration from everyday mundane events, and allows them to demonstrate special talents in fields such as art, design, and creative activities. That seems like a Sam thing, 110%. Excel instantly at sensing others' emotions and the essence of situations. Yep. Able to read subtle nuances that cannot be expressed in words. Yep. Whether that is Sam or his friends, I don't think that it matters because it manifests within Sam anyway. Very interesting, very interesting. In romance, though, there's an emphasis on deep spiritual connection, which makes a lot of sense given that Sam is the spirit guy. They're attracted to a person's unique charm and inner beauty rather than appearance or social status. I think that that's very true for Sam, and I think that's why he's a little bit more loosey-goosey in my mind, because he doesn't have like an ideal partner per se. He has an ideal vibe, and then whoever kind of fits that vibe, I think would be good for Sam. I don't see him being as picky as the other staff. If someone is not generally considered attractive, they can still love them deeply if they genuinely feel drawn to that person. Aw, Sam! That's so wholesome. Their expressions of love are different from others. They express love through original and romantic methods not found in typical dating manuals. They excel at creative expressions of affection, such as handmade art pieces, poetic messages, and unexpected surprises. Okay, Rook, could you please leave? Pretty please. We're not talking about you right now. But I think that also tracks for Sam. I think the way that he's able to just know what you need and want before you even know it and give that to you could be read as this sort of unexpected way of showing his love, so that's fair. And then spiritual growth with partners, being able to grow spiritually together through the romantic relationship and idealizing relationships where being together leads to new discoveries and deeper self-understanding. That just seems like a Sam vibe. He is the spirit guy. And I think involved in that, there's a lot of intuition. There's a lot of that sort of like deeper meditation that you need to do. And I think that having a partner that would A, be chill with that, and then B, would also participate in it would be really great for Sam. Some of his strengths are his unparalleled creativity, deep empathetic ability, and flexible adaptability. However, he should be mindful of being lonely due to being misunderstood and handling practical challenges, which is interesting. They may struggle with daily practical tasks and realistic problems. I don't know that that's as much of a problem with Sam. I think he has a good balance on that, given that he's the shopkeeper and he has the shop. Now, other tasks outside of that, he could struggle with because he's very focused on the shop and he could be very focused on the creative aspects with his partner and all that sort of stuff. I can see other things going to the wayside, but I think inherently that part's not as difficult. The loneliness due to being misunderstood absolutely can be because he's very unique as a person, and this particular love type is also expressing that similar uniqueness. I think that is a fair point of detraction for Sam. The best type is the romance magician. Good types are perfect chameleon and a mysterious creature. So he would be great with Vargas, which is kind of wild because I think Vargas like doesn't even think about it. Isn't there a line in Vargas's vignette where he's like, yeah, Sam's not staff. Sam's not one of us. He just runs the shop. Challenging type is the manager, the F-A-R-E. So not good at being managed, but good at a lot of other stuff. And I think all of that sort of stuff does suit Sam. I think the only person that really got a wild one was Vargas, but that's probably just because I don't think about Vargas that often and I don't have a good handle on his character. But these were all of the love types for all of the different staff according to how I have perceived them and what the quiz has said about those perceptions. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Did you take the quiz and find out that you are the perfect match for Crewel? Let me know down below. And let me know if you like this sort of content and want more like it. If comments aren't your thing, you could always like and subscribe instead to show your support. And before you go, I just have to remind you that you're amazing and I hope you have a wonderful day.